The massive ship hung in space like a silver tear. Lieutenant Do-hyun Kim stood at the viewing port, his back straight and his face calm. Inside, his heart beat fast. This was not just his first time in space. This was humanity's first step into the Galactic Federation. "Are you ready, Lieutenant?" asked Captain Lee behind him. Do-hyun turned and nodded. "Yes, sir." Captain Lee handed him a small metal pin shaped like Earth. "Remember, you represent all of us now." 3 months ago, the aliens had come. They arrived in ships that blocked the sun. The world had feared war, but the aliens brought peace instead. They called themselves the Galactic Federation. 10,000 species united across the stars. But they had a strange word for Earth. They called it a death world. They said humans were tough because Earth was hard. High gravity, extreme weather, dangerous animals, and poisonous plants had made humans strong. Most aliens came from easy worlds with low gravity and no dangers. Do-hyun did not feel special. He had been a soldier, trained in both modern fighting and the ancient martial arts of his homeland. Now he was the first human to join the Federation's military exchange program. The ship docked with a smooth click. Do-hyun picked up his small bag and followed the alien guide into the Stellar Academy. The air smelled clean but strange. The halls were too tall and too wide. Everything was built for beings much larger than humans. "This is the main hall," said the guide, a tall blue alien with 4 arms. "All new students gather here for sorting." Do-hyun entered the hall and stopped. Hundreds of aliens stood in groups. Some had 6 legs. Some had wings. Some were made of what looked like living crystal. They all turned to stare at him. "Is that a human?" whispered one that looked like a giant praying mantis. "Yes, the Deathworlder," answered another. "So small. How can it fight?" Do-hyun kept his face blank. He was used to being judged. At 175 centimeters tall, he was not big even by human standards. But size had never mattered in his training. A loud sound like a gong filled the room. A tall alien with 8 limbs and golden skin walked to the center of the hall. "Welcome to Stellar Academy. I am Combat Master Kovacs." The alien's voice was deep and smooth. "For 10,000 years, we have trained the best warriors in the galaxy. You are here to learn, to grow, and to take these skills back to your worlds." Kovacs's 4 eyes scanned the room and stopped on Do-hyun. "We have a new species joining us this year. Human, step forward." Do-hyun walked to the center of the room. The floor lit up around him, creating a circle of light. "This is a Deathworlder," Kovacs said to the crowd. "Humans come from a planet with high gravity and many dangers. They believe this makes them strong." There were laughs from the crowd. Do-hyun remained still. "Human, what combat skills do you bring?" asked Kovacs. "I am trained in several Earth fighting styles," Do-hyun answered, "and I served in special forces." Kovacs made a sound like water bubbling. It took Do-hyun a moment to realize it was laughter. Special forces from a world that has not even reached the stars. How special can they be? More laughter filled the hall. A small alien with pink skin and large eyes stepped forward. "Sir, I volunteer to show the human how we train here." Kovacs nodded. "Excellent, Gura. Tomorrow we will have a demonstration. The human against Gura." As the crowd broke up, a female voice spoke behind Do-hyun. "Don't worry. They always test newcomers." He turned to see a human woman with short black hair and a Federation uniform. "I'm Hana. I work as a translator here." She smiled. "They don't know much about humans yet. That's why they underestimate you." Do-hyun looked back at Kovacs, who was watching him with all 4 eyes. "Good," said Do-hyun quietly. "Let them." The training room was huge. The ceiling rose 20 meters high, and the floor was covered with a soft blue material that gave slightly under Do-hyun's feet. He arrived early, 2 hours before the scheduled match with Gura. He stood in the center of the empty room and closed his eyes. His breathing slowed. Do-hyun began to move through the forms he had practiced since childhood. Each movement was slow and careful. His hands cut through the air with purpose. "What are you doing?" Do-hyun opened his eyes. Hana stood at the doorway, watching him with interest. "Morning practice," he said. "An old habit." Hana walked closer. "Those movements, they're different from Federation combat styles. It's called Taekwondo, an earth martial art. Will you use it against Gura today?" she asked. Do-hyun shook his head. "No, I will watch first. Learn how they fight, then decide." Hana looked worried. "Gura is from Zentai. Their people have natural armor and 3 hearts. They train from birth to fight." "Everyone has weakness," said Do-hyun simply. The door opened again. 3 aliens entered, led by Combat Master Kovacs. Behind him walked Gura, the pink-skinned alien from yesterday. The 3rd alien was tall and thin with 4 arms like the guide from the ship. "Human, you are early," said Kovacs. "Good. This is Training Master Pilar." He pointed to the 4-armed alien. "He will explain the rules." Pilar stepped forward. His voice was high and musical. "The demonstration will use training weapons only. No killing blows. The match ends when one fighter cannot continue or surrenders." Pilar handed Do-hyun what looked like a short staff made of blue metal. It was light but strong. When Do-hyun pressed a button on the handle, the ends glowed with soft light. "This will not cut, but it will shock on contact," explained Pilar. "The shock is not dangerous, but is unpleasant." Gura was given the same weapon. The pink alien twirled it with skill, making the air hum. "I will try not to hurt you too badly, human," said Gura. "We need you alive to study your species." More aliens entered the room. Word had spread about the match. Soon the sides of the training room were filled with watchers from many species. Do-hyun saw them whispering to each other, pointing at him. "They are placing bets," said Hana quietly. "None are betting on you." Do-hyun nodded but said nothing. He tested the weight of the training staff in his hands. Kovacs moved to the center of the room. "This is a demonstration match between Gura of Zentai and Do-hyun of Earth. Begin when the lights change." The lights in the room dimmed except for the circle where Do-hyun and Gura stood. A soft hum filled the air. Do-hyun watched Gura carefully. The alien was bouncing slightly, shifting from foot to foot. 3 eyes blinked at different times around its head. The lights flashed once, and Gura attacked. The alien moved fast, faster than Do-hyun expected. The staff swung in a wide arc toward his head. Do-hyun did not try to block. Instead, he stepped back just enough for the staff to miss by centimeters. Gura attacked again and again. Each time, Do-hyun moved just enough to avoid being hit. He did not attack. He did not raise his weapon. "Fight back," someone shouted from the crowd. "Is this how humans fight? By running away?" Gura taunted. Still, Do-hyun did not attack. He watched. He learned. Gura had patterns. The alien favored attacks from the right side. There was a small delay between the 3rd eye blinking and each major attack. 5 minutes passed this way. Gura grew frustrated. The alien's movements became wider, less controlled. "Enough games." Gura shouted and lunged forward with full strength. That was the moment Do-hyun had waited for. As Gura overextended, Do-hyun finally moved. Not back, but forward. He stepped inside Gura's guard and struck 3 times with his staff. Quick, precise hits to spots where the alien's natural armor was thinnest. Gura gasped and fell to one knee. The alien's staff clattered to the floor. The room went silent. "How?" Gura tried to stand but couldn't. "How did you know where to hit?" Do-hyun bowed slightly to his opponent. "I watched. I learned." From the edge of the room, Kovacs stared with all 4 eyes wide open. Word spread quickly through the Stellar Academy. The human had defeated Gura, a third-year student from a respected warrior culture. Some said it was luck. Others claimed Gura had not tried his best, but all wanted to see more. Do-hyun sat alone in the dining hall. The food was strange. Purple cubes that tasted like fish and green soup that was sweet like fruit. He ate quietly, aware of the stares from alien students at other tables. "May I join you?" A voice spoke in perfect Korean. Do-hyun looked up to see a young man with the academy instructor badge. He was human, with short black hair and friendly eyes. "I'm Ta-won," the man said, sitting down. "I've been at the academy for 2 years as a language specialist." Another human. Do-hyun was surprised. "Hannah didn't mention you." Ta-won smiled. "There are 5 of us total, mostly working as translators and cultural guides. You're the first to join as a combat student." Before they could talk more, Combat Master Kolvax approached their table. The 8-limbed alien's golden skin reflected the bright lights of the dining hall. "Human," Kolvax said to Do-hyun. "The council wishes to see more of your abilities. Tomorrow you will face 3 students at once." Do-hyun put down his spoon. 3 against 1 is not a fair test. "Fair." Kolvax made the bubbling laugh sound again. "In real combat, who cares about fair? Besides, you are a Deathworlder. Your kind evolved to survive against poor odds, yes." After Kolvax left, Ta-won looked worried. "They're testing you too fast. Most new students train for weeks before facing multiple opponents." "Who will I fight?" Do-hyun asked. "Senior students from Drakon, Viperi, and Urselian worlds, all from planets with gravity at least 80% of Earth's. They're choosing opponents who won't be at a physical disadvantage." That night, Do-hyun could not sleep. The room assigned to him was too large, the air too sweet. He sat on the floor and closed his eyes, remembering his training. His old master's voice came to him. "Fighting many is like fighting one. Where 2 attacks come, find the space between them. Where 3 attacks come, make them block each other." Morning came. The training room was now packed with spectators. Not just students but instructors, and even some high council members had come to watch. Do-hyun saw Hana and Ta-won standing together near the wall. Training Master Pilar approached with 3 alien students. One had scales like a lizard and moved with quick, jerky motions. Another had thick fur and powerful arms. The third was tall and thin with skin that changed colors like a chameleon. "These are your opponents," said Pilar. "Drex of Drakon, Ursik of Ursalia, and Vis of Viperi." This time, they were given different training weapons. Do-hyun received 2 short batons. Drex took a staff like the one from yesterday. Ursik chose what looked like training claws that fit over his already sharp natural claws. Vis selected a whip-like weapon that could extend and retract. "The rules are simple," said Pilar. "No lethal strikes. Match ends when one side cannot continue or surrenders." Do-hyun stepped into the circle. The 3 aliens spread out, surrounding him. From the crowd, he heard whispers. "The human will be humbled today. 3 against 1. This is cruel. But it's a Deathworlder. They enjoy challenge." Kolvax raised a hand. "Begin." The 3 aliens attacked at once. Drex from the front, Ursik from the right, Vis from behind. Their movements were coordinated, practiced. They had trained together. But Do-hyun had trained for this too, not on alien worlds, but in dark rooms on Earth against multiple attackers. His body remembered. He moved in a way that seemed impossible, not attacking any of them but positioning himself so that Ursik's charge nearly hit Vis. The 2 aliens had to pull back to avoid hitting each other. Drex swung his staff at Do-hyun's head. Instead of blocking, Do-hyun dropped to one knee, letting the staff pass over him. In the same motion, he struck Drex's knee with one baton. The scaled alien hissed in pain, but did not fall. "He fights like water," someone whispered in the crowd. Do-hyun kept moving, never staying still, never where they expected him to be. He did not attack wildly. Each move was planned, precise. The crowd watched in silence. This was not the brutish fighting they expected from a Deathworlder. This was art. The fight continued. Do-hyun moved like he was dancing, always just out of reach. The three aliens grew frustrated. Their attacks became wilder, less controlled. "Stand still and fight," growled Ursik, swinging his claws in Y-arcs. Do-hyun did not reply. He watched and waited. When Vice's whip came at him from behind, he caught it with one baton, twisted, and pulled. The surprised alien stumbled forward, right into Drex's path. They collided. Viz fell to the ground. Drex tripped but kept his balance. Now only two aliens faced Do-hyun. Ursik charged with a roar. Do-hyun stepped aside at the last moment. As the large alien passed, Do-hyun struck precisely at a nerve point below Ursik's arm. Ursik's right arm went limp. The training claws fell from his hand. "What did you do?" Ursik asked, shocked. "Pressure point," Do-hyun answered. "The feeling will return in a few minutes." Drex circled carefully now. The scaled alien had seen what happened to the others. He approached more slowly, staff held in a defensive position. Do-hyun stood still for the first time since the match began. He held his batons at his sides, seemingly relaxed. "Is he giving up?" someone whispered. But Combat Master Kolvax watched with all four eyes narrowed. "No," he said quietly. "He is baiting Drex." Drex lunged forward with his staff. Do-hyun's move was so fast that many in the crowd missed it. He stepped inside Drex's guard, trapped the staff between his arm and body, and struck 3 precise hits to Drex's torso. Drex gasped and dropped to his knees. He tried to rise but couldn't. I surrender," Drex said. The training room was completely silent. Then Training Master Pilar stepped forward. "Match over. The human wins." The silence broke. The room filled with excited chatter. Many aliens crowded around the platform, trying to get a closer look at Do-hyun. Kolvax pushed through the crowd. All 8 of his limbs moved in different patterns, showing his agitation. "How did you do that?" he demanded. "Those were advanced students. I used their strength against them," Do-hyun said simply. "But you knew exactly where to strike Ursik to disable his arm. And those 3 hits on Drex, they were precisely on nerve clusters." Do-hyun nodded. "Yes. How could you know alien anatomy so well? You've been here only 2 days." "I don't know alien anatomy," Do-hyun admitted. "But all moving beings have similar weak points. Places where nerves gather, where balance is vulnerable, where breathing can be affected." Kolvax stared at him. "That's impossible." A new voice joined the conversation. "Not for humans." An elderly alien with blue skin and white hair floated forward on a small platform. Everyone bowed slightly. "Council Elder Munjin," Kolvax said with respect. The elder's eyes fixed on Do-hyun. "I have studied Earth transmissions for years. Humans have over 4,000 distinct combat systems developed across their planet. Their world forced them to become not just strong, but observant." Munjin turned to the crowd. What you witnessed was not just physical ability. The human was reading his opponents, predicting their moves, finding patterns. Hana pushed through the crowd to stand beside Do-hyun. "Earth martial arts aren't just about fighting," she explained. "They're about discipline, control, and understanding movement." Do-hyun nodded. "My master said, the best fight is the one you never have to fight. The second best is the one you end quickly and cleanly." Kolvax seemed troubled. "This is not what we expected from a Deathworlder." "What did you expect?" asked Do-hyun. "Rage, strength, brutality." Kolvax's upper limbs made a gesture of confusion. "Your world is harsh. Life there is constant struggle. How did this create precision?" Do-hyun thought for a moment. "Because on Earth, those who only had strength did not survive, as well as those who had skill. A predator that wastes energy does not eat for long. Elder Mun-Jin nodded slowly. Perhaps we have misunderstood Deathworlders. He turned to Kolvax. I believe we need to reevaluate our training programs. Combat Master, please work with Lieutenant Du-hyun to develop a joint class. Kolvax's skin changed from gold to a deeper orange, a sign of surprise. Elder, are you certain? Very certain, said Mun-Jin. The Federation grows by learning from all its members, even the newest ones. As the crowd broke up, Du-hyun felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Ta-won. You've changed things today, the translator said with a smile. But be careful. Not everyone will be happy about it. 3 days after the fight, Du-hyun was called to a small room deep in the academy. Inside sat 5 aliens around a half-circle table. Combat Master Kolvax was there, along with Training Master Pilar. The other 3 were council members Du-hyun had not met before. Lieutenant Du-hyun, said a green-skinned alien with large black eyes. I am Chief Medical Officer Doran. We have questions about your performance. Do-hyun bowed slightly. I will answer if I can. Daron placed a device on the table. It projected a 3D image of Do-hyun fighting the 3 aliens. The image froze on the moment he struck Drex's nerve points. Our scans show you hit exactly 3 nerve clusters, said Daron. The chance of this happening by accident is very small. It was not an accident, Do-hyun said. The alien to Daron's left leaned forward. This one had no eyes that Do-hyun could see, just small holes in a leathery face. I am Security Chief Vex, the eyeless alien said. We must consider the possibility that you have illegal neural enhancements. Do-hyun frowned. Neural enhancements. Computer chips in your brain, explained Pilar, or genetic changes to increase your reflexes beyond natural limits. I have no such things, said Do-hyun. Humans do not have that technology yet. Kolvax made a sound like a sigh. Then explain how you fought so well against species you never met before. I told you. All living things move in similar ways. I watch. I learn. I predict. Daron shook his head. No species can do this naturally. The 5th alien, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. This one was small and purple with delicate fingers that never stopped moving. Actually, that may not be true, said the purple alien. I am Professor Kan, xenobiologist. I have studied the data from Earth. Humans have unusual pattern recognition abilities. What does that mean? Asked Vex. It means, said Professor Kan, that humans are very good at seeing patterns and making predictions based on small amounts of information. Their brains evolved this way to survive on their dangerous planet. Kan turned to Do-hyun. Am I correct? Do-hyun nodded. My training included thousands of hours watching how people move, how weight shifts before an attack, how eyes look where the body will go. These things are the same for most beings. The room was quiet as they considered this. We will need to verify, said Daron. We request permission to scan your brain and body. That is acceptable, Do-hyun agreed. 2 hours later, Do-hyun lay in a medical pod while lights moved over his body. Daron and Professor Kan studied screens filled with data. Fascinating, murmured Kan. His brain activity during combat simulations shows intense focus in areas responsible for pattern recognition and spatial awareness. But no implants or genetic changes, confirmed Daron. He is completely natural. When the tests were done, Do-hyun found Hana waiting outside the medical bay. They think I cheated, he said to her as they walked down the corridor. They don't understand humans yet, Hana replied. But there's something else you should know. She pulled him into an empty classroom and lowered her voice. Not everyone is happy about your success. There's a group of students and even some instructors who think humans are dangerous. They don't want Earth and the Federation. Why tell me this? Because they're planning something, Hannah said. Taiwan overheard them talking. They want to prove humans are too violent to join the Federation. How would they do that? They plan to provoke you, make you lose control. Hannah looked worried. If you respond with violence, they'll use it as proof that humans are just savage Deathworlders who can't be trusted. Do-hyun's face remained calm, but his eyes hardened. I see. What will you do? Hannah asked. What I always do, said Do-hyun. Watch, learn, and be ready. As they left the classroom, Meaver noticed the small drone hovering in the corner, its camera focused on them. In another part of the academy, a scaled hand turned off a monitor. The human nose hissed a voice. We must move faster. Today, you will learn a different way of fighting, Do-hyun said to the class. 1 week had passed since the investigation. Now, Do-hyun stood in the training room facing 20 alien students. Combat Master Kovacs watched from the side, all 4 eyes fixed on the human. Human fighting is not about being the strongest, Do-hyun continued. It is about being the smartest. A tall, thin alien with blue feathers raised a hand. But strength wins fights. This is known across the galaxy. Not always, replied Do-hyun. Let me show you. He called forward the largest student, a rock-like alien named Goran. Goran stood 2 meters tall and weighed 3 times what Do-hyun did. Try to grab me, Do-hyun instructed. Goran reached out with massive arms. Do-hyun did not resist. Instead, when Goran pulled, Do-hyun added his own movement in the same direction. The surprised alien stumbled forward, off balance. I used your strength against you, explained Do-hyun. This is a basic human principle called redirection. The students murmured among themselves. This was new to them. At the back of the class, a young instructor named Sung-ho watched with interest. He was not scheduled for this class, but had come anyway. Sung-ho was the academy's tactics expert, known for his brilliant mind. Now pair up, said Do-hyun. Practice what I showed you. The aliens tried, with mixed results. Some got it quickly, others struggled. Do-hyun moved among them, making small corrections to their form. When the class ended, Sung-ho approached. Fascinating techniques, said the young instructor. Very different from what we teach here. Thank you, Do-hyun replied. But I noticed you taking notes. Why? Sung-ho's eyes lit up. I see connections between your fighting style and tactical fleet maneuvers. The same principles could apply to starship combat. Do-hyun had not considered this. You mean using an enemy's momentum against them, even in space? Exactly. Sung-ho was excited now. Our current space combat doctrine relies on superior firepower. But what if we applied your redirection principles? Their conversation was interrupted when Kovacs joined them. The students are responding well, admitted the combat master. His tone suggested surprise. They're good learners, Do-hyun said. I want to expand this program, announced Kovacs. Teach more classes. Perhaps create a special group to study human techniques deeply. Do-hyun glanced at Sung-ho. I think I just found my first advanced student. Over the next 2 weeks, Do-hyun and Sung-ho worked together. They combined human martial arts with alien biology and tactics. Students who once avoided the dangerous Deathworlder now lined up to join their classes. Your idea about space combat is brilliant, Do-hyun told Sung-ho one evening as they reviewed training videos. Sung-ho nodded. And your understanding of movement is unlike anything in our records. Together, we're creating something new. Even Kovacs had changed. The combat master now attended every class, sometimes even participating in demonstrations. I was wrong about humans, Kovacs admitted to Do-hyun after a particularly successful session. I thought Deathworlders would only understand brutal force. Many humans think that way too, Do-hyun said. But the best warriors on Earth know that precision beats power most times. Not everyone was pleased with these developments. In the dining hall, Do-hyun noticed a group of aliens who glared at him. Their leader was Trisk, a senior instructor who had opposed having humans in the academy from the start. Hannah sat down beside Do-hyun. Be careful, she whispered. Trisk and his friends are still planning something. What have you heard? Nothing specific, but there are rumors about a test they want to give you. Something dangerous. Do-hyun didn't seem worried. Let them try. This isn't just about you anymore, Hannah said, looking around at the students who now greeted Do-hyun with respect. It's about changing how the whole Federation sees humans. As they talked, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the academy. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Emergency protocol activated, announced a voice over the speakers. All personnel report to safety stations. Sung-ho rushed into the dining hall, out of breath. Do-hyun, there's been an attack on the north section. Several instructors are trapped. What kind of attack? Asked Do-hyun, already standing. Explosion. Maybe sabotage. Sung-ho lowered his voice, and Combat Master Kolvax was in that section. Red emergency lights flashed through the corridors as Do-hyun, Sung-ho, and Hannah ran toward the north section. Aliens of all species moved in the opposite direction, following evacuation orders. What exactly happened? Do-hyun asked as they ran. Something exploded in the environmental control room. Sung-ho explained. The whole north section is losing air and gravity control. 5 instructors were inside when it happened. When they reached the security checkpoint, they found a group of emergency workers blocking the way. A tall, insect-like alien in a security uniform stopped them. No entry. The area is unstable. There are people trapped inside, argued Do-hyun. Rescue teams are on the way, said the security officer. But they are coming from the central hub. It will take at least 30 minutes. Sung-ho looked at the readings on a nearby screen. The oxygen levels are dropping fast. They don't have 30 minutes. Do-hyun studied the station map displayed on the wall. Is there another way in? The maintenance tunnels, suggested Hannah. I used them when helping with translator installations. The security officer clicked its mandibles nervously. Those tunnels are not safe during an emergency. The safety systems may not work. We have to try, said Do-hyun. He turned to Sung-ho and Hannah. You don't need to come. This will be dangerous. Sung-ho straightened his back. You taught us that the best fighters are not those who avoid danger, but those who face it with clear minds. I'm coming too, Hannah said firmly. 3 of Do-hyun's students pushed through the crowd. They had followed from the dining hall. One was Goran, the rock-like alien. With him were Lix, a quick reptilian, and Paula, a 4-armed engineer. We will help, rumbled Goran. You taught us well. The security officer seemed torn, then finally stepped aside. Take emergency breathers, he said, pointing to a wall cabinet. The air will be thin. They grabbed the breathers, small devices that fitted over the mouth and nose. Do-hyun looked at his small rescue team. Paula, you know engineering. Can you guide us through the tunnels? The 4-armed alien nodded. Yes. I have studied all systems. Goran, you're the strongest. We may need to move debris. I am ready, said the rock-like student. Lix, your species can see heat signatures. That will help find the trapped instructors. The reptilian's tongue flicked out. I will lead the search. Do-hyun turned to Hannah and Sung-ho. Stay close. We move quickly but carefully. Pala led them to a small door near the floor. It opened to reveal a narrow tunnel lit with dim blue lights. They crawled inside, moving deeper into the damaged section. The air grew thinner as they advanced. Their breathers hissed softly, providing just enough oxygen. After 10 minutes of crawling, they felt the gravity shifting. Gravity controls are failing, whispered Pala. Be ready. Suddenly, they were floating. Do-hyun had trained for zero-gravity combat on Earth, but it was still disorienting. He grabbed a pipe on the tunnel wall to steady himself. Use the movement techniques we practiced, he told the others. Small pushes, controlled direction. They continued forward, now swimming through the air rather than crawling. The tunnel ended at a small hatch. Beyond it, they could hear alarms. We're near the environmental control room, said Pala. Lix pressed his face to a small window in the hatch. I see heat signatures. 5 bodies, not moving much, and something else, something moving between them. What do you mean? Asked Sungho. There is someone else in there, hissed Lix. Someone walking around the trapped instructors. Do-hyun's eyes narrowed. This wasn't an accident. You think it was planned? Hana looked shocked. The explosion. The trapped instructors. It's too perfect. Do-hyun checked his emergency breather. Whoever is in there wanted to hurt the academy, or perhaps just certain instructors. Kolvax, whispered Sungho. He's been supporting human integration. Do-hyun nodded. And now we know why Trisk's group has been so quiet. They were planning this. What do we do? Asked Goran. Do-hyun looked at his team, aliens and humans working together. Just days ago, they had been strangers. Now they trusted each other with their lives. We do what we trained for, said Do-hyun. We work together. We use precision, not just strength. He turned to the hatch and gripped the handle. Ready? Do-hyun opened the hatch slowly. The room beyond was large, with tall machines lining the walls. Emergency lights cast everything in a red glow. Parts of the ceiling had fallen, and sparks jumped from broken panels. In the center of the room, 5 figures lay on the floor. One was Combat Master Kolvax, his golden skin now pale. Near him was Elder Munjin and 3 other instructors Do-hyun recognized from his classes. Standing over them was Trisk. The alien held a weapon that Do-hyun had never seen before, a short rod that glowed with purple energy. With Trisk were 2 other aliens wearing breathing masks. Stay here, whispered Do-hyun to his team. I'll go first. When I give the signal, enter quietly. Pala, check the air systems. Goran, be ready to move the injured. Lix, watch for any more attackers. What about us? Asked Sungho. Hana, try to reach security through your translator device. Sungho, help me create a distraction. Do-hyun pushed gently off the wall, floating into the room. He used a fallen beam to hide behind as he moved closer to Trisk and the others. He could hear them talking now. The Federation has grown weak. Trisk was saying to the injured instructors, letting primitive species like humans join us. It's a mistake that will destroy us. Violence is not our way, gasped Elder Munjin. Sometimes violence is necessary to protect peace, replied Trisk. When the Council learns that humans attacked the Academy, Earth will be banned from the Federation. Do-hyun now understood the plan. Trisk would blame the explosion on humans, with Kolvax and other supporters of Earth injured or dead. No one would defend humanity. It was time to act. Do-hyun gave the signal, and Sungho pushed a broken piece of equipment. It crashed to the floor across the room. Trisk spun around. What was that? While Trisk was distracted, Do-hyun launched himself forward. In zero gravity, his movement was silent and quick. Years of training allowed him to control his body perfectly despite the lack of gravity. Before Trisk could turn back, Do-hyun was on him. He struck precisely at the nerve points in Trisk's arm. The weapon floated free. Human. Trisk hissed in surprise. Trisk's 2 helpers moved to attack, but now the rest of Do-hyun's team entered the room. Goran pushed off a wall and crashed into one attacker like a living boulder. Lix moved with blinding speed to intercept the other. It's over, Trisk, said Do-hyun. Your plan failed. It's not over, snarled Trisk. Humans don't belong here. You're dangerous, unpredictable, too powerful. Powerful enough to help, not just hurt, Do-hyun replied. He turned to his team. Pala, how are the environmental controls? The 4-armed alien was already working at a control panel. I can restore partial life support, enough to keep everyone alive until help comes. Goran, help move the injured to this side of the room. The air will be better here. The large alien carefully lifted Kolvax and the others. Hana knelt beside Elder Munjin. Help is coming, she assured him. Just stay still. Mun Jin's eyes blinked slowly. You came for us. Of course we did, said Hana. Suddenly, Trisk broke free from Du Hyun's hold. He pushed off the wall and grabbed his weapon. But instead of attacking, he pointed it at the main control panel. If I destroy that, life support fails completely, threatened Trisk. Everyone dies, unless you let me leave. Do Hyun didn't move. He watched Trisk carefully, noting how the alien held the weapon, how his weight was balanced, where his eyes focused. You won't shoot, said Do Hyun calmly. I will, shouted Trisk. No, your eyes keep looking at the exit. You want to live, and your finger is loose on the trigger. Trisk hesitated for a split second. That was all Do Hyun needed. He pushed gently off the floor, gliding through the air in a perfect arc. His hand struck Trisk's wrist with precise force. The weapon spun away. Before Trisk could react, Do Hyun had him pinned with a simple joint lock. The move required minimal strength but made it impossible for Trisk to move without causing himself pain. How? Gasped Trisk. How did you know I wouldn't shoot? I read your body, said Do Hyun. That's what humans do. We watch, we learn, we understand. From the floor, Combat Master Kovacs gave a weak laugh. And that is why we need them in the Federation. 2 weeks after the rescue, the Grand Hall of the Stellar Academy was filled to capacity. Aliens of all species gathered for a special ceremony. At the front of the hall stood Do Hyun, Hana, Sung Ho, and the students who had helped save the instructors. Elder Mun Jin, now recovered from his injuries, floated on his platform to the center stage. His voice, amplified by the room's systems, reached every corner. Today, we honor those who showed true courage, he began. When danger threatened our academy, they risked their lives to save others. The crowd applauded. Do Hyun noticed many faces that had once looked at him with fear or doubt now showed respect. But today is about more than just courage, continued Mun Jin. It is about understanding. For thousands of years, the Federation has brought species together from across the galaxy. Each brings unique gifts. Today, we recognize what humans bring to us. Combat Master Kovacs stepped forward. His golden skin had regained its luster, though he still moved carefully. I once thought Deathworlders were dangerous, Kovacs admitted to the crowd. I believe humans would bring only violence and chaos to the Federation. He turned to face Do Hyun. I was wrong. What Lieutenant Do Hyun has shown us is not just physical skill, but something more valuable, a different way of thinking. Kovacs gestured to the hall around them. Our academy teaches combat as a science, movements to be memorized, patterns to be followed. Humans teach it as both science and art. Fluid, adaptive, always evolving. Elder Mun Jin moved his platform closer to Do Hyun. The council has made a decision. We will establish a new division at the academy. The Center for Adaptive Combat will combine the best of all our traditions. Lieutenant Do Hyun and Instructor Sung Ho will lead it together. The announcement was met with loud cheers. Even species that rarely showed emotion seemed excited. But there is more, said Mun Jin. The term Deathworlder will no longer be used as a classification. It has become a term of fear, not understanding. From now on, planets will be categorized by their environmental factors without judgment. Do Hyun stepped forward when invited to speak. The hall grew quiet. On Earth, we have a saying. The strongest trees grow in the harshest winds. My planet shaped humans to be strong, yes, but also to be adaptable, to watch, to learn. He looked around at the faces of so many different species. What makes the Federation great is not that we are all the same. It is that we are all different, with different strengths. Together, we are stronger than alone. After the ceremony, Do Hyun stood with Hana and Sung Ho near a large viewing window. Outside, stars stretched into infinity. What will you teach first in your new center? Asked Hana. Do Hyun thought for a moment. That the most important weapon is not the body, but the mind. That watching and understanding your opponent is more powerful than any physical attack. Sung Ho nodded, and that showing restraint can be the greatest strength of all. A group of young alien students approached them, led by a small blue creature with large eyes. "Teacher Do-hyun," said the blue alien shyly. "We are the new class. We start tomorrow." Do-hyun smiled. "Are you ready to learn?" "Yes," they answered together. As they chatted with the excited students, a shadow fell across them. Do-hyun turned to see Kovacs. "The first transport from Earth arrives next week," said the combat master. 20 more human instructors and students. "The beginning of something new," said Do-hyun. "Something better," agreed Kovacs, extending all 4 of his right arms in a formal greeting gesture. Do-hyun clasped each arm in turn, completing the ritual. From across the hall, Elder Mun-jin watched with satisfaction. He turned to Council Chief Daron beside him. "I believe this is what humans call a watershed moment," said Mun-jin. Daron nodded. "We feared their strength, but it was their precision we needed, not just in combat, but in thinking, in adapting, in understanding others." Outside, a new ship docked with the Academy. On its side was the emblem of Earth alongside the symbol of the Federation. Different worlds, now joined as one. Inside that ship, more humans waited, ready to share what they knew, and more importantly, ready to learn. The galaxy would never be the same.